myself. I don't think so. But I kind of place myself in the role of every Muslim. Right? And so therefore it is an expression of me, as it is of all the people that go to make me up. And the first thing that struck me was that Marmaduke Pickthall lived through a period of unremitting war and hostility, because he went from the 1880s to the 1930s or something like that. So he saw the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, the First World War, and all the various other stuff around that. And so I projected myself into the corpse, hence the kind of exposed bones and severed limbs of a unknown Turkish soldier. And the first thing that arose to me was, what must it be like to be on the wrong side of history? And am I on the wrong side of history? Was Marmaduke on the wrong side of history? And was this soldier on the wrong side of history, just rotting away? And I thought, this is just, this is me, this is everyone really. And therefore you've kind of got these footprints of blood all around it. You've got I was quite lucky because the five fingers, it seems to me, immediately associated me with the five pillars of Islam, and the kind of pillars of the faith emanating from this dead person, and holding in their hands is a picture of a Arab and a white wife, because it seems to me my story and Marmaduke's story is about actually a cross-racial, cross-cultural story as it is anything else. And the notion of a white woman marrying an Arab man and converting to Islam, changing her name, etc., etc., is something that my mother did, and something that the people in this picture did. I thought he'd be lucky if this corpse fell facing the direction of Mecca, because that's a very important thing for when you're buried as to where you face. And I wonder whether or not he did fall facing Mecca. And there's just a couple of quotes that came out to me. One is a quote from Marmaduke Pickthall's conversion, where I think a sheikh, a religious person somewhere in Turkey, asked it, when they're having a conversation about becoming a Muslim, Marmaduke Pickthall saying, I wish I'd become a Muslim when I was 19, but I came from this particular religious background and I couldn't break from it. And in one sense, I guess he's kind of saying that he wasted 20 years of his life that he kind of passed up through human concerns around other people, which is not a bad thing. And he says, the sheikh says to him, you are alone amongst us. In other words, you're here in the Middle East, as our boys are alone among the Christians. And that phrase to me kind of says something about being in the land of, the difference between living in the land of Muslims and living in the land of Christians, and what that means even in the world in which we inhabit today. And the last quote, actually, that I put down here isn't from Marmaduke Pickthall. It's from his. It's from the guy from Liverpool. Oh God, what's his name? It's Quillian. Yeah, Quillian, who opened the mosque in Liverpool, in the working class area of Liverpool, and he did a speech called about fanatics, and he said, and he turned fanaticism on its head. And he said, so it is with all great improvements. The progressists has ever been termed fanatics and visionaries, and that idea about actually a fanatic being someone who wants actually positive change and has a vision for it is, I think it's important to try and reclaim that word. And my feeling is fanatic was hung around Quillam, it was hung around the neck of Marmaduke Pickthall, it's hung around the neck of every Muslim everywhere in the world who actually at the moment stands up for their faith against the invader or against people who are trying to attack them. The notion about fanatic actually being a positive thing rather than just being someone who you expel or you crush or you surveil or you bomb or whatever it might be. So all I'm saying, I guess, is wrapped up in my body is the body of Marmaduke Pickthall, it's the body of a dead Turkish soldier in World War I, and that notion about being on the wrong side of history.